What's that sound? It's for amusement only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Continuing in our series on Bally innovations in flipper pinball, I wanted to spend a moment and talk about the mushroom bumper. Now, some of you may be upset and say, wait a minute, Nick. Didn't Stoner invent those in the 1930s? And I'd say yes. In fact, they did. They used it on a couple of games in the 30s. And then Bally started using them again in the 1960s. But it was Bally who really popularized their use. And they appeared on many Bally machines from the 60s and into the 80s. The mushroom bumper is so called because it's got a cap, which is brightly colored, which sits on top of a plastic stem, which is visible to the player. The cap is round, and it can be in a variety of colors. And the stem that it sits on is actually just a black, very small bumper body type thing, but it's not like a pop bumper. It's just this, how to describe it? It's almost like an oval, kind of, and it extends from where the cap normally rests down to the playfield. Underneath the playfield, the cap has a stem that drives all the way through that body under the playfield. From there, it hooks onto a switch, just a normal leaf switch, like a rollover, and there's a little clip that holds it in place. Now, when the ball strikes the bumper body, what actually happens is it raises the cap, and the cap will either open or close a switch underneath the playfield, that leaf switch. And then the game will do whatever it needs to do. In some cases, it'll light special. In some cases, it'll start some kind of special feature. And in other cases, it'll score points. Invariably, though, hitting a mushroom bumper is satisfying. The only time that it's not is when the bumper cap is broken. And as you can imagine, this happens quite easily. You have to make sure that that cap is maintained. Otherwise, it's going to break. The ball strikes it with a lot of force in some games, and it'll just snap. So, replacements are available for blue, green, red, white, and yellow from Pinball Resource. Now, on these repro caps, they come with a new clip. However, sometimes the clip doesn't fit just right in a game and it'll start falling off, which means that the cap comes unhooked from the switch and it stops scoring. So you'll want to save your previous clip if you can for your game and test it out with the new clip. But if your game happens to need something slightly different, something slightly tighter, then you'll want to have that old clip on hand if you can. Now, Pinball Resource also has a variety of mushroom bumper caps that are printed with different graphics on top. Some of them were printed with point values, and those come in various colors as well. So if you need one, that would be the first place to check. In a future episode, we'll be talking about some of my favorite games that use mushroom bumpers, but many of the games that Bally made in the 1960s and 70s had this as a notable feature. So, that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the bingo line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at nbaldridge, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.